Hey everybody, we're back for another episode of the Jump In Podcast. I'm your host, Coach John Thomas, and I'm excited to be here with you today. As you can hear in the background, we got my man Too Short playing. It's our theme song for the week. Again, we're getting ready here in Philadelphia. We're one of the two teams playing in this week's Super Bowl, which is the NFL's championship. And we're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, which has been a team that we had a little bit of a challenge with, 2 years ago when we met them in the Super Bowl. And again, they took that game with a 3-point victory. And, we've been waiting for the opportunity to get back at them ever since. So I'm excited to share with you what we're going to share today. To become a champion, it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of commitment, discipline, and just, doing things at a very high level. And, if you listen to some of the interviews like I have of the professional athletes that are out in the field, they're doing their media days out there in they're in New Orleans this week. And, one of the things that, many of them have shared is, they've been looking forward to this their whole life. This is a dream for them. This is what they worked and spent all those hours training and developing themselves in their craft to be able to play at this level for this accolade that's coming up. But most of them will share, just like I will, that they knew why they wanted to do it. They had a reason why to do it, and they went out there and accomplished it by creating and developing habits that supported their reason why. And so today's episode, we're going to talk about, you knowing your why and developing habits that support you as you create your journey to either accelerate or improve or build new habits for a winning lifestyle that you want. So how do we get that going? How do we make sure that happens for you? Well, it's very simple. First things first, in order to know your why, you have to identify your why, for your life, for your career, for your relationships. If you ask me what my why is, it's very easy to say. It's my kids. And before my kids, it was for the future that I wanted with kids and a family, to be able to support them and do the things that I wanted to do with them. And so they became the reason I got up every day. Early in my career, they are the reason, even before they existed, the reason why I stayed on a straight and narrow path, never got myself in any kind of real trouble. Always looked for positive things to do because I wanted my future to be secure, and I wanted to build a future that could be that not only I, but my friends, my family, and my children, once they came into existence, could be proud of. So that was for me the reason why I got up every day. And what I tell people now is that if you know your reason why, you can figure out how. You'll figure out how. You'll figure out how to make it work. You'll figure out how to make things happen. You'll figure out how to, shift the circumstances that you're in. It'll help you move through a whole lot of different spaces if you actually are focused on your reason why, and it makes that difference for you to get up and go do. Is once you know your reason why, you want to build a support network that helps you win the games you play. And how you do that is you got to gain the support and the buy-in of your close family, your friends, and all the core supporters that are around you. I really know that I couldn't do half of what I do if it wasn't for the encouragement, if it wasn't for the advice, if it wasn't for sometimes the kick in the pants of people around me who I know, like, and trust to get me over the hump and to make sure that I stayed on track and never gave up on the things that I said I was committed to. And, for you want to make sure that the people that you do gain the support and the buy-in, they're those folks that are committed to they have your best interest at heart. They want you to win. And, not everybody who says they're there for you is really there for you. So you got to be very careful of who you surround yourself with and make sure that, these are people that, hook or crook, they were there when you were down, they're there when you were up. And so again, gaining the support and the buy-in of close family and friends is also a very important piece to developing habits that win and help you to win the games you play. The next, you want to commit to the process. Whatever that process is, right? You're creating it. It's your design. It's your life. No one else can live your life. No one else has lived your life, right? So once you commit to the process, you got to trust that it will work out the way it's intended. For me, one of the things that I said in 2025 that I wanted to have a transformational year inside of my fitness, my well-being, my physical frame, everything that has to do with me in that area, because that's the one area where I developed some really negative habits, some bad habits. Again, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't take any kind of, drugs unless it's, I get a cold season, I have to take some Theraflu. But for the most part, I've done everything I know to do to keep myself in the on this earth, without doing anything negative. But one of my biggest vices is sugar. I've been addicted to sugar since I was a kid. And I know that as an adult, it's not that great for me. My family has a history of diabetes, and I have to be careful always that that's something that I'm going to be having to deal with. And, even though I knew that that existed, I didn't pay attention to it. And so now going to the doctor the last couple of weeks and getting the workup and all the results back, I've got to manage this. This is one of those things that I now have to either quit it or let it take me out. And I'm not about to leave without a fight. So for me, God bless America. Sugar is out of here. And, I asked the doctor, I said, do I need to get rid of it like, cold turkey? He was like, no, you just need to cut back. And I was like, okay, well, that means I can still drink one or two, here or there. And he's like, yeah, just don't make it just don't overdo it. If you were drinking one per day, go to one every other day or one every 3 days. Right. And, I heard him say that, but then at the same time, I was like, nah, if I drink one, I'm going to drink more than one. I know what it takes to build new habits, and I'm going to commit to this process, and I'm going to trust that it works out the way it's supposed to be. So what did I do? I stopped drinking sugary drinks. That is one of my favorite things to do. Long Island, I'm an Arnold Palmer guy. I love iced tea and lemonade. It's one of my favorites. But guess what? One of the favorites is going to have to be without sugar. It'll be Arnold Palmer without sugar. And so again, these are the commitments that I need to make. Cakes and pies going out the door unless they're sugar free. And that's now the newest thing. And it's been really interesting. I did cold turkey for the last week and a half since I got my results. And man, they were not kidding. It is like, for a couple of days, I was out of it. It's like I had to figure out how to keep working and doing all the stuff that I did. But, the reaction of my body to, sugar not being there, I had to take a sip or two just to keep myself, awake. And so, I know that I am disciplined enough to do cold turkey and be someone that, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But at the same token, I know that the process is not, in one day. It's going to be over time. And so I'm, just like many of you, I'm actually inviting you to commit to that. Whatever that process is, you create it and trust that it'll work out the way intended. And then the next thing is, guess what? This one will come right up my alley. Get coaching. I am a professional life, business, and relationship coach. I coach people every day to help them get whatever it is that they want. And people ask, well, John, who do you have a coach? And the answer is yes. I have different people that are mentoring me. They're experienced individuals with integrity and credibility. And those folks, what they say, I take to heart. I don't let, my ego or my attitude get in the way of, people who I've trusted with my journey and trusted with, what's important to me. Allow me not to take the advice that they give me, or to have their words of wisdom make a difference. Right. So again, even the professionals that are in the medical field, I know that they spent, a ton of time and made a commitment. I coach, medical professionals now, and their commitment to getting their education. I mean, who would go to school for 8 to 12 years and lose sleep and spend days, eating ramen, all just so that they could actually become a doctor. And so again, those people, when they give you the results, I don't say just take everything to heart, but you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are experienced and they have integrity and credibility, and you can use their history to make sure that they do. When the next thing is, you want to identify a core leadership team. And these are people around you that when they're around you or when they're involved with you, they're giving you access to the things that you need. And I call those things the 3 Ws. When you ask the question, well, what are the 3 Ws? The 3 Ws for me are wealth, work, and wisdom. These are people who have done it. They have made a significant difference in the way that they live financially, physically, emotionally, intellectually. So wealth is not just money, right? It's all of those things that I just mentioned. These are people who have a supreme work ethic, people who've, been at the top of their craft for a long time. And so again, if you can find people like that around you, or people that, maybe they aren't around you right now, but they're out there. And if you engage them with what you're up to and what you're committed to, they would be excited to work with you, or maybe even join you in being a part of your core leadership team. And those people will give you access to these things that I'm talking about as well. And then the last W is wisdom. What else is there need to be said? The word says it all. These are people who have, learned their craft. They have spent time on this earth. They have done what it is that you may have wanted to do, and then some. And they have learned through their successes. They've learned through their failures. They've learned. And so again, by having these people around you with their wisdom, helps to make you even brighter and helps you to navigate the paths that you're on without having, all the challenges that someone else might have had to go to. So look for people with the 3 Ws: wealth, work, and wisdom. Now, once you've given yourself permission to put those people around you and get those structures in place, right, you want to begin to create your vision. And your vision is not like anybody else's vision. No one else can see through your eyes. And that's the biggest thing you want to take from the word vision, right? It's what you see for yourself. So for me, I see a world where, I see a body that's 225 at its core, and diesel. I see, those you don't know what the term diesel is, it's buff, muscular. And, why is that important to me? Because for me, that's what, looks great for my frame. It makes me feel good about myself. And for me to have the vision and to see people with that type of frame, that excites me. That actually puts me in a place where, I knew what that looked like, and I knew what kind of life I lived when I had that frame. And so again, for me in my physical fitness journey, that's what I'm aspiring to achieve. And I'm going to create that vision and put that vision in front of me every single day. And those core values, things that, you want to help develop them, not just by yourself, but with those folks that I told you about, that close family, friends, and all those supporters that you have, your mentors. Let them feed into those core values that you create for yourself. No one says that it's just people in business that need to have core values. If your core values are not identified and you can't think about them every single day for what you're up to in this world, you're going to get led astray. If you notice in our world right now, there's a lot of people who are being led astray by a lot of folks who have no interest in what is important to them. They don't have their best interests at heart. And if you're someone that's surrounded by people that fit that category, then all I can tell you is, it starts with you. You have all the power when it comes to creating your own vision. You can see the future if you want to create one. And if it's something that's hard for you because of the circumstances you're in, then all I can tell you is to change your circumstances. You're not going to, your attitude, and I talked about this in previous episodes, you can only control two things in your life. You can control your attitude, how you feel about the things that are going on, and you control your activity, what you do about the things that are going on. And one of the things that you can do is you can create your vision. You can create your own core values, and you can get the help of others around you to help you to build values that really are solid and will, give you the strength to get through those tough times. And that, I can tell you, is one of the biggest things that I've used for when times get tough. And, there have been many tough times for me that, again, I've wondered, well, what am I doing all this for? And I've had to go back to, my reason why. I had to remind myself that these kids count on me. They love me. They want daddy to win. They want to be around, and they want me to be around for them. So again, I don't get lost in the circumstances of my life. So what I do is I focus on the vision that I've created, and then I go to work. And that leads me to this next piece, which is, you got a vision that you can see. And like I said, if you can see it, you can seize it, right? If you can see what it is that you're focused on and what you want for yourself, your life, your career, your relationships, then you can actually go out there and get it. And how you do that is you design a plan. Most people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And, when you're in a business like me, the first thing that people ask me is, well, how did you get to where you are? Well, first thing I did was I created a plan for both my nonprofit work. There were proposals I had to write and had to share what the vision was and the values that we put in place and what we were going to do with the money. And when I came into the for-profit arena, it was the same thing. I had to develop a business plan that looked at the market and how what I was going to do is going to make a difference and how I was going to do it differently so that people could support it. Well, okay, so businesses have a plan, organizations have a plan, governments create plans, but what about you? What about your life? Do you have a plan? Did you create your life plan? And if not, guess what? This is the opportunity for you to start to do that. And that you want to design a plan that incorporates actions consistent with your vision and your core values and the things that matter to you. I told you in the last episode that you can talk about all the things you want. You could hope for all the things you want. You could wish for all those things. But if there are no actions developed that are consistent with you achieving your desired results, then you're just dreaming. That is what that's called. And again, you can do that every night when you close your eyes. But when you wake up in the morning, you better get up ready to go to work. And that work has to be inside of a plan that incorporates actions that are consistent with your vision and your core values. And, you're going to be asked, okay, you're going to be asked and you're going to be tasked with, now that you have this plan, well, guess what? Plan your work day, work your plan every day. Plan your work day, work your plan every day. Well, what does that mean? Well, guess what? If you heard what I said 5 seconds ago, you have to develop a plan for your life, for your business, for your career, for your relationships. And that plan will work. If you plan your work day, and then work your plan every day, you will have actions every single day. And I've shared in previous episodes of this podcast that comes down to you creating a schedule that works and looking at the things that you do every day and putting them in order, right? So if you know that you have 24 hours in every single day and everybody has the same 24 hours, well, what are your 24 hours going to be about? You got to figure out, how much of that time do I need to rest? How much of that time am I going to be spending doing, uh, basic, hygienics and maintenance of my physical body? How much of that time am I working for others or work for myself? So all of that is incorporated in your work day plan. You have a schedule. That schedule has to be consistent with the goals, the dreams, and all the things that you say you're committed to. And you got to plan your work day, and then you got to work your plan every single day. And then the hard part for most people is they get rigid. They get set in their ways. They don't move from where they started. They create habits around even the things that they say they're trying to um, dismantle, right? So even though I've said you got to be disciplined, you got to create a plan, you got to work inside your core values. You want to be flexible and willing to adjust that plan as needed. There are things that are going to come up every second of every day. And there are things that, need you to pay attention to. And there are going to be things that will, question whether or not the plan that you created is valid or if it needs to be adjusted. You're going to be the one that makes that choice, but you want to make sure that, for the most part, stick to your guns. Don't go too far off plan, but you want to make sure that you're being flexible and willing to adjust the plan as you need to. Nothing worse than a made up mind. And that's a person that doesn't have any flexibility and they don't move from their position. And if you notice how that goes in life, it doesn't really go well for other people. It doesn't really go well for those people who do that. So again, make sure that you're the type of person who has flexibility as a part of their mentality and their vision for developing habits of work. And next, you want to find ways to just enjoy the experience and have fun. The possibility I invented for my life is a life of love, joy, peace, and freedom. Those are the four fundamental things that make a difference for me. And they are the things that drive pretty much what I get up to every single day, right? Love, joy, peace, and freedom. Now, one of the ones you didn't hear was fun. Fun, freedom, and ease is all a part of what I get up to every second of every day. And I do it in every way that I can. Sometimes I get discouraged. Sometimes you'll find me not, folks will be like, "Yo, man, you're being too serious." Well, guess what? Even when I'm in my serious mode and even when I'm even in discouragement mode, I still find ways to enjoy the experience, and then have fun with it. I'll make fun of myself. I'll make fun of others. I'll make fun of the situation I'm in. I'll find ways to enjoy the experience and other people around me. Remember that core group of supporters? My friends, my family, they know how to clown. It's been a thing for us all our lives to just make fun of what's going on, not just with ourselves, but with other people, with the things that we have to deal with. If you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at what's going on in your life, you're going to find yourself, in a very tough situation. So again, even in dark times, even in those tough times, even when things don't seem to be working out for you, you want to actually just find ways to just enjoy whatever that experience is and have fun. I'm not saying that this is for those of you who have suffered, serious trauma. That's not what this conversation is about. For those of you who are dealing with serious trauma and you've been, subjected to things that, as humans, we hope and wish never happened to you. You want to get the support you need from the professionals that you need, and you want to continue to do what you need to do to get yourself healthy. But for those of you who have, I'm talking about those of you who've fallen short on your goals or your dreams, or you haven't gotten the experience of life that you want. maybe you want to start to look at ways you can enjoy where you are and have fun with it, because it could make a difference for what you're committed to. And then what else can I tell you? Everything that I'm talking about here in developing, habits that you will support you, that work, you got to know that this race is not given to the swift. You got to run your race and be proud of whatever the outcome is of that race. I said, that my goal is to get to 225 pounds and, looking buff and diesel, right? Well, guess what? I'm going to run that race however long it takes for me to get there. From 240 to 225, for some people, it may not seem like a lot. But if you think about where I am at 57 years young and how long I've been carrying that 240, that's how long this race has been. For me to get to the point of 2025 and finally saying, hey, you know what? This is the year I'm going to take this on. This is the year I'm finally going to make my health and my fitness the priority of my life. I'm not going to do anything more important, because without those things, I'm not going to be able to accomplish any other things that I want. But at the same token, I'm not going to make it, like some stressful event where I can't enjoy, or I make it so hard for me that I don't want to keep doing it. This is my race. This is the race I've chosen to run, and I'm inviting you to run your race and be proud of whatever the outcome is. I'm proud of the results of being able to go a week without sugar. I'm proud of the results of being able to look at myself and say, you know what, today I have this frame. I'm able to get up and go out and do things. I'm able to move around. I'm still able to hang out and play. I'm able to do the funnest things on the planet. And I am who I am. So that's where, having yourself be proud of where you are, proud of where you've been, and proud of where you're going. Run your race and then be proud of whatever the outcome is. Now, this is the last thing that I want to leave you with, but it's not the last thing you want to be doing. The last thing I leave you with is because they say in science, neuroscience, your brain functions off of the last thing you hear. So what I'm going to leave you with is this last point in developing habits that work. First, acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge yourself, right? For where you are, for where you've been, for where you've come from, for where you're going. Acknowledge it all. If you can acknowledge yourself for the things that you've accomplished in your own life, first of all, most people are not going to get that acknowledgement from other people. So if you're not getting the acknowledgement you want from the supporters or your friends or family, well, guess what? You have the biggest cheerleader sitting right there in that mirror. That's yourself. Get in front of a mirror. Start to acknowledge yourself. Start to cheerlead you for the wins that you have. It's not weird when you're out there really knowing that you've accomplished where you are. You've gotten everything you've needed, right? Everything you've done, everything in your life has allowed you to get to the point where you are. And so again, you want to make sure that you're taking the time to acknowledge yourself for that. And then acknowledge other people. Acknowledge people for their contributions to the effort every chance you get. Acknowledging other people allows for them to really be recognized for the role that they play in your life, for who they've been for you, what they've done. They may not think that when they talk to you that one day when you were not feeling so great, made a real difference. But like I shared with my, even with my sibling earlier today when I was riding with her, I said, I've forgotten many of the things that people remember that I've done. And they remind me when they acknowledge me for those things that I've done. And I really feel great and grateful to be someone who's made those kind of differences for people. But more importantly, I'm grateful for the differences that I've made in my own life, in the journey that I've traveled here on this planet called Earth. And so again, folks, your life is it's an experience. It's something that you want to be, taking every single ounce out of it that you can. You want to squeeze every juicy morsel. And it takes you to really be committed to creating habits that work. Now, I'm already past the 4 weeks that I said that in 2025, I've created new habits that are now, in existence that I can no longer go back on because they are now part of my daily, weekly, and now monthly journey. And every month you're going to hear new messages. Every week you're going to hear me come on this podcast and talk about the things that are a part of this journey that I'm on, but also more importantly, where I think that can make a difference for all of you. This episode, like others, only works when people like you jump in. I entitled it to Jump In Podcast because I wanted people to be involved. I want them to share their lives and their stories. I want them to have the opportunity to get their messages out there to the world. And again, if I can draw anybody to any level of, improvement or to make their life a better place, or I can make a difference, just by sharing these messages, then I'm going to keep doing it for those who are out there listening. And so if you're someone who wants to be engaged and you want to get your questions answered, you want to have topics that we discuss, feel free to share them with me at iCoach, the letter U, play at Instagram.com, or you can email me, iCoach, the letter U, play at the number one at gmail.com. And I'll respond on the podcast. You'll see your, questions getting answered. You'll also see the topics that you invited me to take on be part of future broadcasts. So if you're someone that wants to share their message, or you're someone that's out there that got value out of the messages that I've shared in these episodes, then I invite you to jump in with us every single week. Tuesday, we do our broadcast here in Philadelphia, and every Tuesday, I'm going to be ready to share with other folks what's important now. So as we move to the next level, like I said, if you want to be someone that develops habits that work, then number one, first and foremost, know that it's your reason why. It's what you say is important to you. It's what matters to you that's going to get you in action around those things and give you the strength, the energy, and the commitment to do all the other things that I've suggested that will help you develop winning habits and help you develop habits that work for you. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And as I come back each and every week, I'm going to be ready to share this message with you. And if you want to be someone, like I said, please do like, comment, share this podcast, subscribe to our channel, follow us if you can, because again, you'll get the episodes directly to you. You'll know when the broadcast has been updated, and it will make sure that you also get your questions and your comments on the air so people out there in podcast land can hear you and know what's important to you. So as I leave you this afternoon, I want you to know that I'm committed to winning the games that I play, and I want you to go win the games that you play.